videos. And then the next Monday, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, we're going to start guided meditations in the evenings. We want more, we want more. Right now, you want more, or you want more tomorrow? Because I'll be back tomorrow. So we're going to get into some more specific examples in the near future. Now, okay, so, all right, well, okay, Manny Cape 13. So what do you have in mind? Talk to me. Well, let's just roll with it. So I'll give you a perfect example of success that is of a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Anything you choose for yourself, more about our purpose and finding it. Okay, great, thank you. So let's just roll with it, guys. So that's the beauty of Periscope. It's in real time. You got to think on your feet. I love these comments, guys. So you're finding your purpose. It's not as hard as you might think. There's so much talk about find your passion, and again, it's so much talk floating around out there that's a little cloudy. So I want to clear it up right now. That's why I love that question. Your purpose and finding it. Think back to as early as you can remember in your life. What did you always love to spend your time doing? What were the kinds of things you always loved to talk to other people about, to read about, to research on the internet? To what did you see even in movies that always inspired you the most? What got you going? And what kind of values do you always find yourself, not to use this word in a negative way, but preaching about? This litmus test comes from Brennan Burchard. I gotta give credit where credit's due. So look up Brennan Burchard as well, because he boiled it down for me to be so simple. So think about what's always motivated you, what's always got you going. You know what I mean? Like what kind of stuff has always gotten you revved up and inspired and really like just intense and heated, right? So you may have to really think about it, but if you just stop and think, it should come to you. And I'll give you an example from my own life. For the last 2.5 years, I was working as a financial advisor, actually, believe it or not. So I've been a musician my whole life. I've been involved in meditation and teaching meditation for a long time. But soon before I had my daughter with my now ex-wife, we were all this pressure to support a family came up, and very fortunately, I was offered a position with a great financial firm, and I was there for about 2.5 years. So, funny story. I asked them when they called me. I was looking for work, but they called me. And I said, well, how'd you get my number? Because I wasn't applying for jobs with financial companies, having no professional or academic background in finance, being more of a musician, being more of a spiritual, creative type of person. And they said that they found my resume in a job database. So I said, well, did you read it? Because it basically says I play guitar, I do yoga, and I have long hair. I had a beard down to here at one point. You can probably fish through my Instagram if you don't believe me. So they told me we don't like to teach old dogs new tricks. So that was very refreshing. And I started with them. I had a great experience. I had great leadership. I can't say anything bad about that company. I can only say great things about it. I was surrounded by truly world-class people, world-class performers, great leaders, great teachers, and people who were just putting their all into becoming better and really coming from a place of service. So it was a wonderful experience for me. And what I learned was that was not exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I had learned so much. I had gained. It was nothing but gain for me, positive gain. I grew, I stretched my vision, I worked harder than I'd ever worked before in my life. But it wasn't really me. The shoe didn't fit. You can only walk so far in shoes that don't fit. Do you agree? So I started to distance myself from that work so that I could get more clarity on what was next. Because I knew that this was not my path for the long run. Something just didn't feel right. Something in me was forcing it. It was forced. So I was watching one of these videos by Brennan Burchard. You got to check this guy out. And what he said was, think back to what you've always been passionate about, what you've always found yourself sharing with others, sometimes if they want to hear about it or not, right? It's the way his name is spelled is BRENDON BURCHARD, Burchard. So anyway, you can look him up for yourself. He's a great guy. He's really at the top of his field at a pretty young age. He's 35, and this guy's making, I think, about 8 figures, and he started 5 years ago. So he's pretty remarkable. And he didn't pay me to say that. Okay, he wouldn't do that. But I always, I love the teachers of humanity, and I never miss an opportunity to refer people their way. Like everybody else, I want to be standing on the shoulders of giants. So I thought about it. I didn't have to think about it very long, and I realized that what I've always loved to do is to share ideas with people. I've always been in love with these beautiful, elevated, and elevating ideas put forth in crystal clear language where you look at it and it's like this jewel, this shining jewel, refracting sunlight, and just the sparkling gem of language that lifts your attention away from the mundane and your bills and your stresses and your inadequacies, and it lifts your vision towards truth. In the words of Thomas Aquinas, the speculative intellect is motivated only by truth. So the dreamer, the imaginer, the envisioner in us is only motivated by truth. And so I was always in love with all these teachers of humanity who offered these brilliant ideas in crystal clear language, and they devoted their lives to creating ways of expressing these ideas that come to us from our intuition. They come from our higher centers, but they lift our attention as these thinking beasts up to our angelic nature. I had always been in love with things like that. I had never thought about doing it for a living. I had never thought about building a business around it. And here this guy was, Brennan Burchard, talking about how you do that. And he laid it out with a level of clarity and systematization that was just, I'd never seen anything like it. And because he made it so clear, that light bulb went off just like that. And I said, that's it. That's what I've got to do. I've always loved these things. I've always loved sharing them. I've devoted thousands of hours and tens of thousands of dollars, I don't mind telling you, to learning and refining and experiencing and putting myself in the path of this information to grow myself. And so this is what I truly love to do. And the moment that I realized that, I felt so much lighter. I felt totally free, liberated, and I had no idea exactly how I'd go from where I was to being a professional teacher, a professional expert. And thank you, it's true. Thanks for that, Nancy. So, but I knew that was what I had to do, and I knew that if I just did it, because it was really me, that everything would work out. It's like this. Imagine you're a toaster oven, and you keep trying to keep the soup cold. You're not built for that. It doesn't matter how sincerely you believe in the necessity of it or how much you aspire to it, you were not built for that. But the second that you focus on what you were built to do, what you are naturally inclined to do, you'll find that all of your life experiences, your temperament, your disposition, even your flaws will come together, and they will solidify, crystallize into something unbreakable, unstoppable, because you are serving the purpose. Like there's this Jorge Luis Borges poem called The Dagger, and he talks about the handle of this dagger warming to the hand for whom it was wrought. I love that. It's so graphic, right? So the second that you reach out for what it was you were meant to do, everything starts to flow. Everything starts to flow because you're doing what you were made to do. So there's no real resistance. There's just overcoming the inertia of your misguided commitments from the past. Those carry a certain momentum, and now you're changing direction. And in the beginning, you have to swim a little harder against the current because you've been creating momentum in another direction. Think about it. If you're swimming, these examples from nature, they're here for a reason. If you're swimming really hard, or if you're driving really fast or anything like that, and you try to switch directions, the most effort that's ever required is when you switch directions, because all that momentum from going the other way is being overcome. But the second you do, that's the test of persistence. You stick with it, you turn around, you forge ahead in the other direction, and pretty soon you're going as effortlessly towards your dreams as you were being carried towards whatever it was you were doing before, something else, something less authentically you. But now that you're being authentically yourself, you have infinitely more energy, you have infinitely better responses from your environment, because people know whether you're really being you or not. And they know a long time before you catch on. And never underestimate the intelligence of other people, okay? So I think that's all. I think that's good for today. I hope that kind of brought these examples to life with some real world examples, with some personal examples from my own life. And again, tune in tomorrow, guys. We do this every day. I skipped last Sunday, but we'll go for 7 days a week this time, okay? And in about 2 Mondays from now, the meditations will start. I'm all over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Contact me at J_S_Khalsa, KHALSA, and let's talk some more. I'd love to be in touch. Thanks so much, guys, and until tomorrow, all the best.